So I think of the University of Michigan as many things, but one thing that it is a giant laboratory of education. We do thousands of experiments every day on tens of thousands of students. Most of the time, of course, we ignore the results of those experiments and let them fall on the floor. But we're trying to change that. And when we think about educational R&D, it's about taking advantage of this giant laboratory of education that we have here at Michigan. Just to give you a quick introduction, educational R&D happens everywhere on our campus. There isn't only one center. There's no way you can bring things together like that on a campus as large and diverse as Michigan. It's a big decentralized place. There are smart, curious people everywhere. It gets support from a really wide variety of different sources. There are things that bring together communities, like our Center for Research on Learning and Teaching. There are groups like our Michigan Institute for Data Science that are involved in this kind of work. We've been doing a lot of work on campus, very important for doing education research on getting data out to people so that people can access and use data in safe and secure ways. Opening up data to people has turned the university into a laboratory for education. People have data they can use. And then funding has also been crucial, of course, both internal funding. James mentioned this morning that we're starting a bicentennial, so we had a big third century initiative at just the right moment for this work that gave us resources for a lot of projects we wouldn't have had otherwise. But we also have a new home for educational R&D here at the University of Michigan, the Office of Academic Innovation, just a few years old, not quite 3 years old, really. It's a campus-wide office that hosts 3 different laboratories within it, and I'll tell you briefly about the first 2 and talk a little bit more about the Digital Innovation Greenhouse. All of these laboratories are engaged in different parts of educational R&D. So the first of these laboratories is DEAL, the Digital Education and Innovation Lab, and it was created for and spends most of its time on the production and study of MOOCs and other digital and online kind of courses, right? So that production facility also is doing lots of research into this. You could talk to Chris Brooks, Rebecca Quintana, lots of the people who are here from the Michigan team can tell you more about DEAL. A second laboratory within the Office of Academic Innovation is the Gameful Learning Lab. The Gameful Learning Lab means to promote the use of gameful approaches to teaching and learning. It's a very powerful movement on this campus toward much more engaged, much more autonomous, and much more competency-oriented learning on campus. And Rachel or Barry Fishman can tell you lots more about the Gameful Learning Lab if you want to know more about that. I will talk mostly about the Digital Innovation Greenhouse. So we do our work in the Digital Innovation Greenhouse in the Office of Academic Innovation here at Michigan. DIG was created to solve a recurring problem that we have on campus. People invent a really good thing, they demonstrate it within their own context, they show that it works, they start talking about it across campus. Everyone wants to use it, but those innovators are terrible at delivering a workable product that everyone can use. So there is this famous valley of death in the innovation cycle in between the innovator and infrastructure. We needed a way to fill that valley of death, and so we took this kind of greenhouse approach. The idea is you bring in your fragile seedling, and we will nurture it to maturity. We will adapt it to the right environment. We'll make sure it's what people really need and not just what you wished they need or you thought they needed, right? It will cross-pollinate with other things that are in the greenhouse, and eventually we'll deliver it out to grow at scale. All right. We chose this greenhouse metaphor in part because our faculty members in my College of Literature, Science, and Arts do not like business terminology. They don't. But organic greenhouses, they're okay with. It's the same thing, but it's a different thing. It's a big team of people, software developers, user experience designers, visual designers, behavioral scientists, data scientists. We started with 3 people 19 months ago, and this is the team we have now. How do we do this? Well, it all starts with the university community. Ideas come out of the university community. We bring them into the greenhouse where they work with this team of people. A very powerful tool is the fact that we are a laboratory. So we get to test everything that we do with real users in real time here on our campus. And that's a very powerful development tool. Eventually, these ideas leave, and they should go out for support at scale. That may happen just on campus, or it may go off to organizations like Unison or even start companies. Another thing we've realized just in the last year or so is that having a function like this supports much more traditional research as well. So there's kind of a branch on the side here that connects to the university research community. One of the very powerful aspects of that is that it can attract a lot of external research funding. This is where the identity of the university is here at Michigan around research. So the more we can facilitate that within the greenhouse, the better off we are. We were born just down the street from here, underneath the parking garage in May of 2015. We have since moved to the top of our library, which is where we are right now, in the Office of Academic Innovation up there on the top of the library. It's a really great space. If you look really closely, you can see the giant stadium just out the window, right? We're right in the center of the campus. I wanted to stress that students are a very, very powerful creative engine. We have a lot of them. They work really hard. They understand this space remarkably well, much better than they do other spaces. They live in it, right? So when you think about educational innovators, if you're not using your students, you're probably missing a lot of the best opportunity that exists. So we have a whole lot of student fellows, and we run design jams, hackathons, things like that as well. We began with a set of 3 projects that you see listed on the top that we were aiming to grow to scale. We also thought that if we created this kind of greenhouse environment, it would be an opportunity that would foster more ideas, and more ideas would come in. And that's been happening in a pretty dramatic way. So we've been adding new projects all along. And this set of work has been collectively supported by something more than $8 million in internal and external funding. And almost half of that is external research-oriented funding. So there really is an opportunity to bring in resources to these projects in that kind of research way. Okay? So I'll finish with just a couple of lessons learned. First of all, that educational R&D is a collaborative thing, and it needs everybody at the table. A lot of times research on our campus is faculty and students. Here, there's a really important role for people in staff roles that's a little unfamiliar to faculty, so it's been very important for us to include design professionals. Doing it well, of course, is hard. It takes time to build trust, it takes time to advocate for innovation, and it takes some resources. It's done by people who form relationships. We have to spend a lot of time on those relationships to try and make sure that people trust one another and they know what's happening. For us, enabling traditional research as part of this has been a really important tool for attracting resources and also taking advantage of the reward structures of the campus. Right? If you want a lot of faculty members to spend a lot of time working in here and they're doing research that looks like research and leads to publications, it's a lot easier for them to do.